Before we get into the video, this will be a two-part series. The next part will go over the 10 reasons of why you should give Honkai Star Rail a try. Anyways, let's get into the video. In this video, we'll be going over the 10 reasons why you shouldn't play Honkai Star Rail if you were on the fence or if you already didn't know what the game actually was. So Honkai Star Rail has multiple banners. The only thing you really need to know in short is that there is a character limited banner, there is a standard banner, and there is a light cone banner, which is going to be a weapon you give to your character for more added stats. The character event banner, so this is going to feature limited characters that have a limited time to be summoned, and once that time frame goes away, you won't be able to get the character until their banner comes back around. This banner has a 50-50, meaning once you hit the actual character pity, if you played other gacha games, you have a certain amount of summons onto the banner. And once you reach that threshold, you unlock a 5-star character once you hit the pity. That's what they call it. Some call it mercy timer. And once you hit that pity in this game, you have a 50% chance of getting the character on that banner. So for instance, let's say I want to get Seal. I have a 50% chance of getting Seal if I do not already have a guarantee. Once you lose your first 50-50, then you have a guarantee is what they call it. And this transfers between banners. The light cone also has a 50-50, we can call it pretty much. So it's the same thing as the character event banner. And then the standard warp standard banner has a bunch of characters and weapons. If you get a weapon that you don't have a character, made for the weapon, you're pretty much wasted a pity unless you get the character, and so on and so forth. If you get a character that doesn't have the weapon that you have already, then you waste a pity. So yeah, it's not the best gacha in the world. And secondly, if you max out the characters, so this is for the whales. When you max out your 5-star or 4-star characters, you don't really get much in return for having a extra dupe once you max out the character. So when you fully evolve your 5-star, you get 5 extra summons once you hit the pity and get that 5-star dupe again that you already have maxed out. And 4 stars, you get 1 summon. Yeah, it's really, really, really bad. The second reason why you should not play Honkai Star Rail is if you're not a fan of turn-based games. So if you played other games, or maybe you have not played other games, maybe you're new to the turn-based genre. This features games like Pokemon, Epic 7. Even though Pokemon's not a gacha, we'll still include it, right? Then you have Artery Gear Fusion is another turn-based game. Then you have FGO, Fate Grand Order. You have other games like Persona as well. A lot of blockbuster game titles also are turn-based, and then there is some gacha turn-based games. And so if you're not a fan of a turn-based game, then you probably will not enjoy Honkai Star Rail. When you play through the game for the first time, you will experience a lot of the actual mechanics. A lot of the combat is turn-based, and if you're not really a fan of it, then you're not going to like it in the long run because it can get pretty repetitive. Repetitive enough for a lot of players to put it on autoplay because, you probably done enough clicking around for a very long time. And as I said before, it is turn-based, so the combat, yeah, it will get really, really repetitive. I've played a lot of turn-based games growing up. One of the things that kept games like Pokemon kind of fresh is having a lot of mechanics in the game. And Honkai Star Rail doesn't really have much mechanics. There is a break mechanic. Wherever you break the shield of an enemy, then you deal additional damage and you do more damage overall. That's pretty much it. I mean, there is like a kind of turn order, but every turn-based game has that. You pretty much have all of these standard features in a turn-based game in Honkai Star Rail, but there isn't anything unique about the actual combat system in this game. And that was the third reason. I did not mention that. Now for the fourth reason of why you shouldn't play Honkai Star Rail is if you're not a fan of unskippable long periods of dialogue and cutscenes. A lot of cutscenes that aren't skippable. If you played Genshin, maybe you probably noticed 3.0 plus Sumeru, there has been a lot more dialogue in the quest. There's been a lot more cutscenes, longer cutscenes that you're able to skip. I think the worst time for a lot of people that didn't enjoy actual dialogue in Genshin was the 2.5 summer event. I don't remember what it's called. That event was kind of brutal, right? There was a lot of periods where it's a lot of dialogue, you're not able to skip it. And I think for a lot of people that do not enjoy story in a game, they just want to play the game, which is absolutely okay, right? You're going to have a rough time sitting through a lot of the dialogue in this game. There is a lot of it, and there is a lot of cutscenes. I personally enjoy it because I'm a fan of the actual story in this game. But if you're not a fan of it, you probably wouldn't like that about this game. So just a heads up. The fifth reason of why you should not play Honkai Star Rail is the fact that there is no PvP. So contrary to most turn-based games, there is a form of repeatable content at the end, and for a lot of players this is PvP. Once you build up, you collect most of your characters, maybe most of your Pokemon. You do something in the form of player v player, and you battle against other players that have also got a lot of Pokemon, built up their characters, and you go head to head to see who comes out on top. Well, Honkai Star Rail really doesn't have a sort of game feature like that, so you're mostly going to be playing against the same bosses over and over again, until Hoyo decides to add different types of in-game, but that is a whole different entire topic. So there is no PvP in this game, so if you are a fan of that, maybe you play Epic 7 Summoner's War, you come to Honkai Star Rail for the first time, well, you're going to be very disappointed when you hit the end game. The sixth reason why you should not play Honkai Star Rail is that the end game will consist of daily farming relics while waiting for the next update. Now, if you played Genshin Impact, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You hit the end game, you're going to be farming relics every day, you're going to be logging in using your resin, your energy in this game. Every turn-based gacha game has every gacha game period has a form of energy system, right? Where you log in each day, you spend the energy, and you're not able to do content or get rewards for doing the content unless you have energy. This game is no exception. There is that actual game model in this game. You're going to be farming relics every day until the next update. And once the next update comes back or comes around, you will be able to do more content. There will be more things for you to do in the game. It's very unfortunate, but I think if you're not a fan of that, waiting for the next update, you're probably going to be turned off by Honkai Star Rail. And the seventh reason of why you shouldn't play Honkai Star Rail, and this will add on to the previous reason, this is a live service turn-based gacha model. If you do not know what a live service game is, you're pretty much gonna have a incomplete game on release, and the game will be updated over time, so you'll have additional content added for free, right? Because it is a free-to-play game. You'll have a lot of time periods where there is literally nothing to do, because it is a live service game model. Now, if you played other games, maybe you're used to buying games for $60. Maybe you buy Persona games whenever those games release, right? And since Persona is a complete game that is turn-based, that isn't live service, well, you know, you pretty much get what you buy. But Honkai Star Rail, you don't get what you buy, and you get what you see, if that makes sense. I guess that's a very bad way of putting it, but if you understand what I'm trying to say, there's gonna be periods of time where there's nothing to do. You're gonna have to either continue playing the game, waiting for the next update, or playing other games on the side. So this is a very side game friendly game. And since this is a gacha game, the eighth reason why you should not play Honkai Star Rail is the fact that it's very grindy for free-to-play players. If you played other games that are also gacha, you know that it might not be too free-to-play friendly, or it might be catered to whales, depends on the game. Honkai Star Rail is very grindy for free-to-play players. Now, I do believe it is free-to-play friendly if you're asking my opinion on it, but it's going to be grindy for free-to-play players. If you are a whale, then you could pretty much get everything a free-to-play will want to get in the game by just spending money, right? And so you're able to unlock a lot of the stuff whales can get ahead of time as a free-to-play player by just grinding in the game. So once you do reach the end game, all the stuff that you would want to get, or a whale will be able to obtain by just spending money, you would have to grind as a free-to-play player. The ninth reason of why you should not play Honkai Star Rail is that the currency for free-to-play is very mid. There's going to be a lot of times where you won't be able to get the character on the banner if you're summoning over time. Maybe you are super casual, you don't play too much, you don't really do every event in the game, so you don't get all the currency that the game gives you over time. You're going to find yourself in a lot of time periods where you're not able to get the character on the banner unless you swipe, especially if you are unlucky. As I said before, there is a 50-50 in the gacha system. So of that alone, 50% of the players on average will not get what they want on the first try. So if you are on the end of that stick, unfortunately, you will have to do another pity to get the character you want on the banner. And if you don't have the currency to get that character on that banner, well, the banner will go away unless you spend money to get that character. And as you know, miHoYo is not very generous, right? As time and time they've shown that they're not. which is not a horrible thing, right? I think they have very nice games. They're able to bypass that reason of not being, very generous because they have games that people enjoy overall. It sucks, but with that in mind, you just have to prepare for banners and go with the mindset of having no expectations or very low expectations. And if I had to rate the currency they give you as a free-to-play player compared to other games, well, we have to take two things into consideration before I even give you my overall opinion. Very first thing is that this game is centered around the characters, so the characters is the form of content that this game gives to the players. And if you know what I'm trying to say is, well, if the characters are the content, well, you have to look at it like this. If you're not able to get the characters whenever the content does update, well, that really isn't considered content. So I would have to rate the free-to-play friendliness or the free-to-play currency that free-to-play players can get in this game on that scale. And by the sense of you're not able to get every character every single update, well, that's not very good. So I would say that the actual currency income of free-to-play players are mid, very mid. If you played other games, Epic 7, other turn-based games, Summoner's War, Artery Gear Fusion, I think Artery Gear is a little better. Not the best, but also is slightly better than Honkai Star Rail. You can get a lot of currency in the beginning and you're able to get a couple characters, but then it kind of dries up, and this game is no exception. The currency you get will also dry up. But as a game overall for right now, you don't get that much currency. I think you get enough to guarantee one character of your choice. And if that's good to you, then that's good, but consider that there's also many characters in the game already. And by guarantee, I mean lose your 50-50. And the 10th reason of why you should not play Honkai Star Rail is because it is very similar to Genshin Impact. The only difference between Honkai Star Rail and Genshin Impact is that Honkai Star Rail doesn't have a open world game model like Genshin. And so if you take that into consideration, the only true difference between these two games is the fact that one is turn-based and the other is a open world RPG game. And if you're used to the co-op in Genshin Impact, well, you're going to play Honkai Star Rail and realize you can't play with your friends. So I think for a lot of people that are used to that in Genshin, and maybe you do that at the end of your day whenever you use your resin, you're going to be very disappointed when you find out you can't play with friends or random people you meet online. That's very disappointing. So those are going to be the 10 reasons of why you shouldn't play Honkai Star Rail if you are on the fence about the game or if you are currently on the market looking for new games to play. I actually really am looking at, that's a horrible way to say it, I really am looking forward to playing this game on release. I think this game looks great. I could not have been more excited, and I don't think I will be quitting this game. I'll probably be one of the last players on the server. But that's it. Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all got something out of this. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments section down below. As you all know, I do have beta access, so I'm able to answer pretty much any question you have for me. And yeah, thank you for watching and have a good rest of your day. Peace.